Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? I hope you had a great week. And Ahmed Azzat, he said, I am here. And Ahmed, welcome. Ahmed said last week, you mentioned everybody, but you did not mention me. So Ahmed, you're the first one today I mentioned. Welcome to everybody. I see a lot of faces today, and thank you to everyone who shared the event and shared the video last week. We're getting better, and we're getting more people every week. I think our first video was about 3,000 people watched the video. We had about 3,000 views. The second one was about 2,600 or close to 3,000. Last week one, actually, we had about 12,000 views of the videos after from last Saturday to this Saturday. So thank you very much for sharing and spreading the word around and getting more people to get into the event. Appreciate your presence and appreciate your time. And Marwan, my son, he's telling me hello. So Marwan is 11 years old, and when he knew I have live, he actually went and got a Facebook account and becoming one of my fans. And then he asked me a question. So I will answer Marwan's question today. So from an age perspective, we have all ages, including 11-year-old. So this is really fantastic. Last week we had 10 countries. We had people from 10 countries. We had Egypt, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Jordan, the US, Bahrain, Canada, and India. And we have a new country that joined last week. I did not believe, but we have somebody from Myanmar. Myanmar joined last week as well. So we have a lot of people. Majdi is here. Say I'm here. I'm sorry if I cannot get to everybody's name, but you're all welcome, and great to have you every week. Muhammad Abbas from Canada, welcome, Muhammad. Just great audience and great people overall. Today, actually, we have a lot of things to cover, and I want to mix it up a little bit, business and leadership. So, in a way, we have some really good questions about business, and we had some good questions about leadership and management as well. We'll try to cover as much as we can. Then in the last 20 minutes, we will cover the second law of growth, the 15 invaluable laws of growth. We covered the first one last week, which is intentionality. And this week we will cover, inshallah, in the last 20 minutes or 25 minutes, we'll cover the law of awareness. So let me start with Marwan, and Marwan asked me a question, and Marwan, I promise you will be the first one to answer a question, and here we go. So Marwan asked me more of a personal question, but I will generalize it in a way. So Marwan asked me, and he said, where were you more successful, in the US or in the Middle East? So that's a personal question. So to answer Marwan, I want to generalize the question, and I want to say, what are the criteria of success? It all depends, Marwan, on what do you consider success? What is the success for you, for a person? Okay, we all have different criteria for success, and we all have different measurement for success. So for me, the best success I usually measure myself against is my impact on people. This is how I measure my success. how did I make an impact or I made an impression? Because we either do one of the two. We either make an impression or we have an impact. So impression, it's only for the moment and it goes away. You know, I come in to a meeting, I look good, I sound good, I smell good, maybe I'm charismatic, I look good. But after the meeting, what impact did I leave on people in that meeting? Did I have an added value to it? Or I just had an impression. I talked well and I said good things and then I just left. So my impact on people, I had a lot of impact on people in the States, and I had a lot of impact on people in the Middle East. But the amount of people that I had probably an impact on, it was more in the Middle East. Just because I stayed in the same company for almost 15 years in the States, and that obviously in different position, but you know, the team was not as big as the Middle East. And having a night like this or a life like this with people and trying to add value to them, I think that's an impact that I look forward to. So the success is different between one person or another. Some people see success on the personal level. Some people see success on the family level. I mean, our parents, they never thought of themselves. They always thought of us, how they can raise a good family, educate their kids right, you know, have values for their kids, and therefore that was their success. Some people have success measurement financially. You know, I want to be wealthy, and the more money I get, the more successful I am. That's another angle of success. There are some people, you know, have career. The more, if I get promoted and I keep moving up, that's a success. But you know, to summarize, I think it is different from one person to another. But I think my impact on people in the Middle East was a little bit more than the impact on people in the U.S. So Marwan, I just answered your question, and you were the first one. So I hope you continue to watch this, and hopefully your brothers are with you as well. I got a question. Somebody asked, should I have doers or leaders? I think they saw my, I had an article on, I published it a couple of years ago. I think it was on LinkedIn, and called Doers and Leaders. And the person asked, should I have doers or leaders on my team? How can I detect bad doers early when I take out a new role? It's a fantastic question. It's an absolute fantastic question. Should you have doers or leaders on your team? Okay. Now we need to understand, doers are the backbone of any organization. You cannot have 100% leaders, okay? Because a main definition of a leader is to have followers. So if you're leading yourself, you're not a leader, okay? You need to lead a team. You need to lead people. So doers are people that probably are not leaders, but they do what they do very well. And these are the backbone of any organization. These are the guys that serving the customers in the front line. These are the guys in the factory manufacturing and producing product, standing in front of the machine 12 hours to produce product. Okay, they are not leading anybody, but they are doers. So how you detect them? How you detect the doers? And you say, these are good doers, these are bad doers, okay? So what is a percentage? Is there a percentage where any organization should have what is the percentage of leaders versus doers, okay? I think in my opinion, you should have around 20% leaders, 80% doers. Okay, that doesn't mean somebody will say, okay, then we don't need to actually develop leaders anymore. Yeah, this is absolutely not true. Every doer has a leadership trait in his personality. Okay, somebody is well-spoken, somebody takes initiatives, somebody is not afraid to voice his own opinion. These are all traits of leaders. Somebody is very honest, somebody is humble. All of these great traits of leaders. But you know, he doesn't lead anybody. So if you have 20-80% in the organization, then you should be okay. Then you keep developing leaders to be on the bench. So if you are the leader of your team, who's number 2? Who's number 3? Okay, if you have a team of 10 and we say 80-20, okay, and you are the leader number 1, who's leader number 2? If you have a team of 20, you should have 3 to 4 leaders on that team, potential leaders to grow and take your place if you leave or you get promoted. So you always need to develop that second line. But if you have no number 2 on your team, then you really need to put a question mark on how you started selecting your people in the first place. This is a big question mark on my capability as a leader to select a team or to develop a team. Maybe you did not select your team when you came on board and you found that team. How can you develop a number 2 or how can you develop a number 3? Okay, maybe number 4. But because you can't have all doers on your team without a second in command. You develop somebody to be the second of command, your right-hand man or your right-hand woman. Okay, very important. If you stay with doers, it's a reflection of who you are. Let me repeat that again because that's very important. If you stay only with doers, it's a reflection of who you are. You're given a message that I am a doer, I am not a leader. Very important. Even good doers. If you have all good doers and you don't have a second leader or a second in command, after being in position for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, that's a problem. You need to say, that's a reflection of who I am as a person. And that sometimes is not good for people to see that. The second question is, how can I detect bad doers early when I take out a new role? So there is the question after that. We'll talk about. Somebody asked, what should I do in my first 90 days on the job? And I'm going to answer that. But the way you detect bad doers on your team, there are signs. In my book, under the chapter of excellence operations, I said, when you take over a new role, you need to detect draggers very quickly. What are the draggers? The draggers are the people that they push you back, not push you forward. The people that whenever you try to advance, they slow you down. These are the draggers. And if you want your journey to advance very quickly, and you want your goals to be achieved very quickly, then you probably need to get rid of the draggers very quickly, okay? How do you detect them earlier? There are signs. One, complainers. They complain so much. I'll tell you a story. My current job, when I joined 2 years ago, and I started in my first 30 days, I usually just listen to everyone in the organization. And I meet with everyone. And I told them, before they come and meet me, I said, I'm going to give you an exercise. What about if you are the CEO of the company for one day? What would you do differently? And when you come sit with me, answer that question. And they loved it. They said, oh, that's great. That's really, nobody did that before. And, you know, I can voice my opinion and I can say what we think this organization should do. And it was such great things, because it's good to see people's perspective on the company that you're going into or the role that you're going into. And this gentleman came and sat with me, and for the whole 30 minutes, I am talking to him, and that was probably my 4th or 5th day on the job. He is just complaining. He's just complaining about everybody but himself. He's complaining about his colleagues. He's complaining about the previous boss. He's complaining about his direct boss. He's complaining about the previous CEO. He's complaining about every single department in the organization, but he did not blame himself for anything, did not take accountability of anything. On that day, on my 4th day, on the job, I made a decision that that person needs to go. He cannot continue with us. Why? Because complainers, all they do, they are victims. They put themselves in that victim mentality where everybody's wrong, but they are right. The sun did not shine today. It was raining outside. Everybody is blaming me. You know, my salary is not enough. I don't have enough people on my team. It is just continuous complaining every day. He will continue like this. And people like this, they don't need to be on your team. He is a dragger. And believe it or not, he was gone after a few months. So first sign is complainers. Second sign is victims, because victims and complainers, they come together. Loud talkers and bad listeners. The people that they come and they do not listen. Again, we keep repeating what we always say on these lives and these videos. You should listen about 80% and you should talk about 20%. And if you see a lot of people, they just want to talk, but they do not listen, that's a dragger. Why? Because whatever you're going to tell him is not going into his head. He's thinking about how he will say the next phrase or the next. So people talk over other people are usually, it's a bad sign. You know, and they talk loud. When they talk loud. Because if you either can do two things, either listen and talk. You cannot listen and talk at the same time. So if somebody is talking and you are talking over him and you're not listening, then that's a sign that you probably are not a team player. You are not somebody who will be reliable, because you only want to voice your own opinion and you don't want to listen to other people's opinion. Procrastinators. Procrastinators are people, when you tell them do this tomorrow, they take a week to do it. They take 3 days to do it. People do not meet the deadline. When you know, this is why in my management style, my management of leadership, deadlines for me is huge. Because people constantly not meeting their deadlines is telling me that there is something fundamentally wrong. Either they taking so much load that they cannot do, or they are not planning accordingly and they are not planning correctly, or they just don't understand the size of the assignments. So when you tell somebody, and I usually, this is my style, when I give somebody an assignment and say, when should I get this back? And I leave the person to say. You see, and this is my advice to all of you. If you are a leader, unless there is an urgent thing, there's crisis somewhere. When there's crisis, you take the drive, and you give the deadline, and you say, this needs to happen here, 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 and here, by next week, by tomorrow, before 2 p.m. or whatever. But I usually tell people, when should I get this back? And they tell me, give me a week, give me 10 days. And sometimes, believe it or not, I know the size of the task, and I said, I don't think you will finish it next Wednesday. Take until Sunday and you know, and get back to me on that. Because I understand the size of the task. So procrastinators are people that they just, if it doesn't happen today, it's fine, it will happen tomorrow, it's fine, inshallah, after next week, inshallah, next month. And this, you know, inshallah, we just abuse it. It's everything in God's hand. Everything under God is willing. But God did not tell us to do the job that should be finished in 2 days in 1 week. You know? So if you say, inshallah, I will finish it in 2 days, it is this, from the God willing perspective, it is the same when you say, inshallah, I'll do it in a week. It's all under God willing. But it's all about how you plan correctly, understand the size of the assignment, and then you move forward. Okay? And you execute and you deliver before the deadline. So that's another sign. Another sign, bad executors. So if you give somebody something and you tell him how to do it, or you assume that he knows, since he's an expert in that, and he does it, you know, 50-50. He does not do a complete job. He's a dragger. Why? Because you have to restart the job again to the satisfaction of the job or the satisfaction of the person that asked for this, because it was not done correctly. So you just wasted time. And what happened? He just dragged you. He put hurdles. He stopped you when you were moving. Okay? So then you shouldn't have a person like this in your team. You should have a person that you give him the assignment and you know the assignment is going to come back on time. You forget about it and you said, this, I know this person can do it. Delegate. Okay? Steve Jobs, what Steve Jobs said? We bring talented people to tell us what to do, not for us to tell them what to do. So this is why it says a lot about the person. Your team is a reflection of who you are. If your team is a hard-working team, you are a hard-working person. If your team is a smart-working team, you're probably a smart-working person. If your team is not a hard-working team and is not a smart-working team, you're probably not a hard-working leader and not a smart-working leader. Your team is a reflection of who you are. So this is how you detect early the doers and the leaders with 20% leaders, 80% doers. Get rid of the draggers. Get rid of the bad doers very early when you take your new role. Okay, so that will lead me to the next question. What should we do in the first 90 days? And I'm gonna say it very simple. When you take a new role, that's my style and it works for me. And I'm telling you, I think this is the best way I advise people when you take a new role. Probably some people from my team listening to this right now, they're repeating what I'm gonna say right now, okay? What I'm gonna say is the first 30 days, right? Abdul Ghafoor, you're listening to me. Ahmed Al-Hadi, listening to me. Everybody that worked with me, you understand, is first 30 days, you just need to listen. Just listen. Observe. Talk to everybody in the organization. Meet everybody in the organization. And just listen to what they say. And what is the second 30 days? Second 30 days to validate what you heard. What does it mean? Because every story has two sides. You only heard one side of a story from people. but you do not know the other side. Then you need to validate. Somebody came and complained about somebody. You need to validate that. Does he have a valid complaint? You know? But if it's everybody complaining, if some is a person complaining about everybody on the first day, you know that's a dragger. You only can complain about few things, and you praise other things, and you say great things about other people, but there are opportunities always. But if people are telling you certain things, you need to go back and validate that in the next 30 days. Is it actually right? What is the root cause of what I heard in the first 30 days? Okay, what about the last 30 days? The last 30 days, you need to start planning. What are you gonna do about what you heard and you validated? You need to plan. And somebody's just gonna ask you, yeah, okay, so you need to plan in 30 days? I said, yes. Planning is not something you do in 1 hour and on 1 day or 1 week, especially if you're taking a role, a leadership role, that you're gonna have a team that's looking up to you. What are your strategic vision for this company? What is your strategic vision for this department? What are the vital few, like I call them, to, there are important many things, but the only vital few that you need to focus on first. What are your vital few? Are 3, 4, 5? Can be more than that. Because if you put 7, 8, 9, 10, they are not few anymore, right? And the vital few are things, if you don't do them, they are vital to the organization. And if you do them, they will be the 20% of things that you do for the 80% results. So you need a good 30 days to plan, to put your business plan, to plan your team, to plan your business plan, to plan your tactics, short term and long term. You put your goals, okay? Very important. These are 90 days of every leader. When you take a new role, doesn't matter small or big, doesn't matter if you are a restaurant manager or you're a shop manager or somebody in charge of just a small department, or you're a CEO of a company. I think the same way should happen. But what happened to us, usually, we get into the position and we listen to people, and people, the first day on the job, they put everything on top of our desk. They asking us to be the savior of the planet and the savior of this company on the first week. And they say, well, you are great. We heard a lot of great things about you. Now solve us our problems. Nobody can solve a problem in a week. Nobody can solve a problem in a month. Nobody can solve a problem in 6 months. Because if you're talking about things are embedded in the company and it has roots, and the root cause of the problem is so deep, you need to plan. And you need to know what is the vital 20% that I can do to get the 80% results. So I hope I answered these 2 questions, 3 questions actually. Majdi, last week, he said, please can you touch on position, policy, and power? So obviously, Majdi, I have a short video on YouTube, on my YouTube channel that's out there, and I talk about from one of my speeches, and I'm talking about the 3 P's, the power, the position, and the policy, and how can you lose all 3 if you lose another P, which is people, okay? So I think the video's out there, but it's very simple. When you get into a position, somebody hired you today, You get into the position, which is the first P, you get the power with that position. Now we are a powerful CEO or a powerful manager or a powerful director. You have the power. Automatically comes with the position. You get it on the first day. Now either you use it or abuse it is up to you. How you use it or abuse it. The power. When I first was hired in 1995 by Pizza Hut as a restaurant manager, and they gave us initial training. You know, you stay 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. You do initial trainings, and obviously I did not get the training because it was the introduction for the first time ever for the stuffed crust pizza. And it was doing extremely well, and all I did at that, you know, as a restaurant manager that know nothing about Pizza Hut was just either making pizza or stuffing the stuffed crust. So I didn't get the proper training, and then I found myself the manager of the restaurant, and then they introduced me to the policy of the company, or the policy of Yum. At that time was not Yum, it was owned by PepsiCo, so it was just Pizza Hut. And I took that big book of the policy and I read it from one cover to the end. And to the point that I knew every single policy, I knew every single disciplinary action, I knew everything when it comes down to policy. And I really thought, as a new manager with no experience, the only way I can be powerful is to stick to the policy of the company. To the point that actually I printed a copy and I used to carry the policy in my briefcase. And I was very proud. And I used to tell people, guess what? You know, we do everything by the book, we do everything by the policy. And that was something, you know, extremely, for me at that time, was very powerful. I have the policy of the company. Okay, I do, you did this, you do that. You did this, you get that. And obviously I realized after a short period of time that policy will please your boss. Policy will please your boss and will make you lose people. It doesn't mean that you should not stick to the policy. You should stick to the company's policy. But you always need to understand the policy and the spirit of the policy. And if you add, so we talked about position, you get it on the first day, the power, you get it on the first day, and you get the policy on the first day. It's up to you how you want to use all three. If you stick to just the position, and we talked about this in the past, if you remember, we talked about this in the past, that in my other videos on online about the 5 levels of leadership, and we said, you know, level 0 and leading yourself and then leading your team. Level 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 5. And we talked about this, how the people aspect, it will make you keep your position, it will make you keep your power, and it will make you use the policy, not abuse the policy. Because people, focusing on the 4th P, which is people, it will make you win yourself, and it will make you win people, and you will empower yourself in your position, and you will empower other people as well. So 3 Ps, but the fourth one is the most important one, which is people. I have a question that came to me on WhatsApp, and it's really a question that probably needs 60 minutes to answer. It's a business question, but I'm gonna try to do it in the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's a very good question. And the gentleman who asked, he said, we saw a short video for you on LinkedIn, and you were talking about brand positioning, okay? And you said, do not change your brand positioning because it can be fatal. It can be deadly. So his question, how can you evolve your brand without changing the core of your business? It's a deep, nice, good, juicy business question. And we have today, last week we had gurus in marketing on this call. We have Mr. Maher Dada, we have Mr. Amir Al-Khiyami. They are the gurus of marketing. And I'm not a marketing person, but I studied marketing, I did marketing. But it's very important how you evolve without changing the core positioning. So to make it simple for people, okay, if you are known for something, and everybody knows you by that, and then all of a sudden you change, what is people gonna say? You say, oh, he changed. I don't know if I can trust him anymore. You know, we know, and deep heart inside, we know he is known for this. This is exactly what the business is or what the brand is. And I always tell people, try the evolution, not the revolution, for your brand. Try the evolution, not the revolution. Because revolution is not good. You built equity for that brand for a long time based on one thing and one thing only. People know you for that. Your core business is this. So when you change your core business and you change your positioning in the market, people start not understanding. And I give a great example of this. During the pandemic right now, business is very slow. And I give this example many times. The pandemic right now, business is very slow. If you go to any mall, you have the luxury shop that sells watches, luxury watches, Rolex and all of these nice, $20,000, $30,000 watches. And then right next to it is a little kiosk that sells 200 dirham watches or $100 watches. This person sells during that pandemic, 5 watches a day. He only does $500 a day in sales. The other person who sells Rolex watches, he sells one every week. One every week. So he makes $30,000 a week. This person makes $500 a day times 7, that's $3,500. So because the business is very slow, the guy who sells the cheap watches goes and talks to the guy who sells the expensive watches and said, what are you doing? Oh my God, you sell only one watch for $30,000? Okay, that's a good idea. So he goes and get a Rolex watch and put it in his display. And everybody is passing by. He sees this guy selling $100 watch and $30,000 watch. What is the first impression that anybody will get when they see the Rolex watch in that guy's display? It's fake. It's fake Rolex. But it is 100% original. But it's fake because it was put next to a guy who's known for selling cheap watches. So what happened? Now people get the perception that even the $100 cheap watches are fake because he only sells fake watches. So his sales drop. Now imagine if the guy who's selling Rolex, you know, he says, okay, what about if I get some of these non-expensive watches and I put it and I sell more? People will think the same. He lost for a simple reason. They changed the positioning. This person was in the differentiation. The Rolex guy was under the differentiation strategy. The guy who sells cheap watches, he was under the cost leadership strategy. And by the way, this is a piece of information. I'll give it to you right there. What is a piece of information? Any business in the world you can think of. Think of any business. From Airbus and Boeing manufacturing planes to the restaurant that is selling a sandwich for $10 or for 10 dirhams. Any business in the world falls under only 3 categories. First one is cost leadership. Cost leadership. You need to watch your cost. Your profit margin is very slim. And you know, if your cost goes high, you will lose money. So you really need to watch your cost, and therefore your prices are low. Second is differentiation. You are just different from everybody else. You do something different than everybody else. Rolex watches. And then the third one is what we call focus leadership. So you have the differentiation leadership, you have the cost leadership, and then the focus leadership. You do one thing only, and you do it so well, and you keep doing it. The guy, the only thing he does is he does papers for printers. That's all he does. But he has the best papers for printers ever. And he goes globally with that brand by just producing and doing one thing. So don't mix it up. Don't be 1 foot in the differentiation and 1 foot in the cost leadership. You will lose. People lived in the States in the 80s, like myself. And if they can't remember, or you know, there used to be a very good brand called Boston Chicken. That Boston Chicken, you can get the best chicken ever with some mashed potatoes, some corn, some sweet potatoes, beautiful side, beautiful sandwiches, Boston Chicken. All of a sudden, we woke up in the early 90s and we found that some genius decided to change the name from Boston Chicken to Boston Market. Why, my friend, why did you do that? They say, because we need to add more product and more things into not just chicken, but we need to add beef, we need to add briskets, we need to add roast beef, we need to add a lot of things. So, why did you change the name? People know me by Hisham. If tomorrow my name is Amr, what am I doing to people? For 50 years, people know me by Hisham. If tomorrow I decided to change my name to Amr, then they will associate me with probably somebody totally different. And what happened when they did this? In 2 years' time, they filed bankruptcy. And McDonald's went and they acquired them. But these are the fatal mistake when people do silly. You know, silly is a nice word to say that. There's another word start with an S as well. Silly mistakes in how you do things. But evolving the brand, this is something extremely important. I'm going to give you an example that you can relate to. When the Colonel Sanders founded KFC, founded on what? On the original recipe. There was no spicy chicken at that time. There were no sandwiches. They were just original on-the-bone chicken. Now imagine if KFC just remained since the 50s until today only on the on-the-bone chicken original recipe. Will it be KFC that we know today? No. You know why? Because sandwiches, as far as I remember before I left in 2015, represented 40% of the menu mix of KFC. Colonel Sanders did not make these sandwiches. Over the year, the brand evolved and introduced new product and introduced new things. This is why R&D in food business and LTOs, limited time offers, are very important because it refreshes the brand. It gives it more new stuff, news every month, every 2 months. You have something new. So evolving and doing what I call internal integration to the brand. It is very important. Diversification, ladies and gentlemen, diversification is totally different from integration. Write this down. Because you cannot diversify and sell. This is integration. Integration is you do something that helps your core business. Diversification is another business. So you have food business and then you want to diversify your portfolio. You go and you get car business. You get involved in car business. That's diversification of your portfolio. But don't tell me diversification that I come in KFC restaurant or Pizza Hut restaurant today and I start selling accessories inside the restaurant. Why? Because I want to increase sales. You destroying the brand. You want to do this? There's something called gift shop. You need to create a gift shop next to the restaurant where the customer is exiting. You can go to the gift shop and buy. But gift shop is a different business than your restaurant. So integration, it is something that you do for the sake of your core product. I love the brand Herfi in Saudi Arabia. I went and I visited them and I met with the team there and we signed with them. We took the right for Bahrain and UAE. And they showed me. Their businesses, the main business, the core business is restaurants. So in order for them to complement this, they went and they have bakery factory that does all the bread for the restaurants. And then they sell to outside as well. Then they went and made a factory for the sauces for the restaurants. So under Herfi's umbrella, you have these three different things that's actually, that's the vertical integration. You do other things that complement your core product. So please, do not mix between diversification and integration. Okay, so how brands go around this dilemma? If I'm known for a certain level, I am a high-end price shop. How do I sell lower to other consumers, to our segments, or lower price segments? They totally create new brands. Lexus and Toyota. Lexus, top, Toyota, a little bit down. However, the chase, the model, the engine, it's the same in Toyota and it's the same in Lexus. So how do you differentiate Lexus? By the interior. A little bit more here and there and options, and this one you have to press the button for the window to go down, this one automatic. But the main is the same. And that's how they get around it. Do you know that Banana Republic, it is the same, is owned by the same company that it has Gap and it has Old Navy. 3 different categories. Banana Republic is the top, Gap is in the middle, and Old Navy, I don't think Old Navy is the Middle East. Old Navy is a very well-known brand in the States. But this is a brand that you can buy a shirt for $5. You can buy a shirt for $3. And then you go to Gap, you buy a higher shirt for $20. And then you go to Banana Republic and you buy a shirt for $50. But it's owned by the same. So they differentiate themselves, and they do that to cover all segments of the market by creating different brands. They don't mix them up under one brand. So I hope I answer this question. This question we can go on and on and on. And Mr. Maher and Mr. Amir, please add in your comments to the team anything that I missed in regards to positioning, in regards to how you capture a market share by having different segments and different market share for different brands, and how to avoid the conflict of with your core business. It's what you are known for. Okay. The last 10 minutes I will take, and we will go on law number 2, the law of awareness. You must know yourself to grow yourself. We talked about this in the first and second lives, where people ask about how do I do SWOT analysis on myself. This is exactly what it is. The first question you should ask yourself, do I have a sense of direction? Do I know what I'm going? Very important. To grow yourself, you must know the following. You know your strength, know your weaknesses, know your opportunities, and instead of your threats, know your interests. What do you like to do? You need to know where I am today and where I want to go. You need to create a GPS for yourself. Do you have the sense of direction? If you don't know where you stand today and where you want to go, you will be lost in the desert, and you will just wait for somebody to pick you up. Okay? The 3 kinds of people when it comes to finding directions, there are 3 types of people. Write this down. 3 types of people when it comes to finding directions. Number 1, people who do not know what they would like to do. We got this in the first 3 lives. A lot of people said, I don't know, I'm confused, I know what to do. This is exactly the word. They are confused. When you don't know what you want to do, you are confused. People who know what they want to do but don't do it. I know exactly where I want to be, but I just procrastinating. Tomorrow, inshallah, next week, next year, I will do it. And what happened? They see other people growing from around them, and they get frustrated. So the first one, they are confused. The second one, they are frustrated. And the third, the people who know what they want to do and they do it and they are fulfilled. These are the people that they are fulfilled. So which type of these 3 are you? Very important. Okay? Reality check with yourself. Nobody's watching you. Just say, I am number 1 or number 2, number 3. Because there are solutions for each, for number 1 and number 2. Number 3 are great, and they will go places. But number 1 and number 2 is, these are the one we need to guide and we need to work on. What do you like to do? So the question, how to find your passion and purpose? First, you need to write are you aware of yourself? You do your SWOT analysis on yourself. You need to start doing, you plan it, and you need to start doing it like we said last week, now. But you need to ask yourself a very important question. What do you like to do? I love Oprah Winfrey. She has a great saying. What she says, continue to do what you are doing or what you have to do until you do what you like to do. Life put us in a situation where we find ourselves forced to that situation. A person today out of a job, and he is looking to support his family, and he just found a job just to bring food on the table. That's fine. That's okay. When you put it on your resume and you said that happened during the pandemic and during Corona time, every single person in the world will understand. But what would you like to do after this period passed? It's very important for you to say, what would you like to do? Can you do what would you like to do? Very important. It's very important. And I'm gonna smile more today because the last time my legal director, Huwaida, I don't know if she's watching today or not, she said, what's wrong with you? You were frowning last time. You were not smiling. And today I'm smiling enough. Okay, Huwaida, just to make sure I'm not frowning. Can you do what would you like to do? Do you have the capability to do it? Yes or no? And Marwan, my son, is giving me thumbs up. He said, yeah, okay, Marwan. It's 12 o'clock in the States right now, or almost 1 o'clock. So I'm glad he's awake on his day off. Can you do what would you like to do? Do you know why you want to do what you would like to do? These are all questions. Do you know why? These are the awareness. Why I like to do that. Am I ready to do that? If I'm not ready, let me prepare myself to do that. I love Ayman al-Masri. I think last week, the week before, he attended one of my workshops in the past or listened to one of my videos online. And when I say you're either doing two things, you're either preparing or repairing, right? You're either preparing right now for what you're gonna do next or repairing what happened in the past. And there is no use to keep preparing what happened. So do more preparing so you can do what you like to do. Okay? Do you know what you do? Do you know what to do so you can do what you want to do? Awareness, action, accountability. Awareness, you know who you are. Action, doing something about it. And accountability. The intentionality that we talked about in law number 1 last week. We have 2 minutes, and I want to close with 3 questions. Number 1, will you pay the price to do what you want to do? Will you pay the price to do what you want to do? And by the way, price doesn't mean money. It could be money, but do you pay some of your time? Do you sacrifice some of your hobbies? You remember, you're gonna give something to get something. So that's question number 1. Will you pay the price? When can you start doing what you'd like to do? And here's the answer. Got the answer? I hear the answer. Now. Absolutely now. Start now. Abdul Sha'rawi said a great thing last week, a great quote. He said, you don't have to be great to start, but you need to start to be great. I think that's what he said. And it was a fantastic saying. So, doesn't matter, you're not going to be perfect. And the third question, what will it be like when you get to do what you want to do? When you reach what you would like to do and you're already there, what are you going to do then? Are you going to be satisfied? Are you going to be happy? Or are you going to say, you know what? This is fantastic. I'm doing what I like to do. I'm going to continue. Spend a significant amount of time and answer these questions for your own life. What would you like to do? What talent, skill, and opportunity do you possess that support your desire to do it? What are your motives for wanting to do it? And what steps must you take beginning today to start doing what you want to do? Awareness, action, accountability. So knowing yourself, knowing where you stand today, and knowing where you want to go, it is extremely important. This is your GPS. You need to be your own GPS. And if you put on the GPS a destination that is unknown, guess what the GPS is going to give you? Unknown routes. So put a good destination that you already know and you like to be there, and the GPS will guide you accordingly. You will guide yourself accordingly. God bless you all. Again, the hour goes fast very quickly. Appreciate everybody who joined us today. I saw some new names. I saw some family members. I saw a lot of Al Makawi today on the call. Fantastic to have you all. I am very grateful to be part of your 60 minutes every week and part of your journey of growth, talking about business, talking about leadership. It's all very close topics to my heart, and that's what I live for. Thanks to Marwan for being on today, the youngest on the call, and thank you to everybody who will share this video and share the invitation. The more share you will do, the more this message will go to other people. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Take care.